Welcome to the Audio Inc. Radio podcast, featuring interviews with the biggest names in rock and metal. Hosted by Anne Erickson.
Get inked. Visit Facebook.com/Audio Inc. Radio, Twitter.com/Audio Inc. Radio, and AudioIncRadio.com for more ink.
As you probably know, or maybe you don't know, I'm not quite sure, but I'm a bass player. I play bass guitar. I love bass. I think that the bass is sometimes an underappreciated instrument, right? Because when you have heavy metal music, the lead guitar gets so much praise, which makes sense because I love those great big shredding lead guitar solos and all of that stuff. But don't forget the bass. When you have the bass guitar locked into the drums and that great groove, that in the pocket feel along with heavy music, it's just the best thing. It makes you want to pop your head along, put your fist in the air, and the bass, you just cannot leave it out. It's a great instrument. Now, I don't play bass in my band, by the way. Upon Wings, I'm the vocalist. So uponwings.com, check us out. Female-led, operatic kind of metal type stuff, symphonic. So Upon Wings, hope that you dig it. Now back to the bass. When it comes to great bassists that I've looked up to year after year, it's actually a broad range. One big one, Victor Wooten. That guy is a one-man show. He is amazing on bass. I would love to see Victor Wooten live in concert. Les Claypool from Primus, that of course is another one because you can't talk about great bassist without talking about Les Claypool of Primus. Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers, I love his slap and pop. He just does an incredible job. When it comes to heavy metal bassist, one of my absolute favorites, David from Megadeth. I think he's one of the greatest heavy metal bass players of all time. I'm actually going to coin him that right now on my show. David of Megadeth, one of the best bass players in heavy metal ever. It's true. I mean, to be up there on stage with Dave Mustaine and writing music with all those guys, coming up with parts that complement what Dave Mustaine is doing, and at the same time locking in with the drums and bringing your own voice, your own style to the table. His bass lines, I think, are the perfect addition to every Megadeth track. And I think that really helps make Megadeth's music stand out in a big way. So very honored to say I've got David on the show. I'm Anne Erickson, and we've got a lot to talk about. Of course, the new Megadeth record, because I don't know about you, but I am beyond ready for another Megadeth record. I mean, their last one got them a Grammy. So I'm ready for that new Megadeth music. And the good news, they are working on it right now, so we'll get an update. Plus, he's got a great youth music foundation, which helps kids all over the country learn music. And they're doing some really cool stuff because of coronavirus. So we'll get into that. Plus, we'll talk about what he has been doing on quarantine and also the big four. I have to ask, will there ever be another big four? I hope so. I know Slayer's retired, blah, blah, blah. Like, I know. I know all that. But I think that if the guys went to Carrie and Tom and said, can you bring Slayer back for one more show, for a big four show, I think they would do it. I mean, it's not a tour. It's not a big tour like that. I think for one show, they would do it. And after this whole coronavirus thing is behind us, I think people are going to be ready for a huge celebration, a huge, amazing heavy metal show. And I cannot think of a better one than the big four with Metallica, Megadeth, Slayer, and Anthrax. I want it to happen. Maybe I'll make it happen today. I don't know. We'll have to find out. Don't forget to please subscribe wherever you rock out to podcast. Leave us a 5-star review. I definitely appreciate all the great support, and I love your amazing reviews. So thank you. And link up with me on social media. I'm online all the time, pretty much. I'm online right now. So message me on Twitter and Snapchat at Anne Erickson, Instagram and TikTok at Erickson Anne, Facebook at itsmeanne.com, and you can link up with all of my socials at itsmeanne.com. Let's get into it with David from Megadeth.
Hi, everybody. This is David Ellefson from Megadeth, and we're hanging here on Audio Inc. Radio with my good friend, Anne Erickson. Rock on.
David, hey, awesome to talk with you. Thank you so much for doing this. One thing I want to talk about right away is your Youth Music Foundation, because it's a really great thing that you're involved with. So tell me all about the Youth Music Foundation and the kind of stuff that you guys do.
Yeah, it's funny. The idea came up. We had been doing a bunch of some pretty big things back in my little hometown of Jackson, Minnesota, where I was born and raised, and including we opened up an Ellefson Coffee Company retail store there on the main street in town, and that opened up the Iowa Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, inducting me into their Hall of Fame later that year. And right around that, the mayor of Jackson, Minnesota, had proclamated October 9th now the official David Ellefson Day. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, so just all these great things were happening, and I thought, the community has just been so gracious to me. I thought, what can I do to give back to them? And that's when the idea of coming up with this foundation, with the focus being on helping support music programs, and in particular in the rural areas. And that was kind of the initial concept when we launched it. So when we, on October 9th, we did an event, we, by way of Jackson Guitars, Hartley Amplifiers, some of my endorsements to the people that I work with, they were kind enough to get on board as well, and we donated some equipment and awareness to the Jackson public school music program there, and that's really where it started from. And ironically, right as we turned the corner into 2020, my business partner Tom Hazard and I were talking about how we wanted to really make this year a year that we could put some attention on the foundation. And little would we know, 2 months later, mid-March, the idea presented itself to us, which was the Schools Out initiative. And Tom actually came up with it. He hit me one day. He said, look, why don't we, schools are shutting down, tours are being canceled, like we're all locked down now, kind of indefinitely. And why don't you start giving some bass lessons online? And that one phone call spitballed within 48 hours, the Schools Out initiative to give free music lessons to students initially across the United States who were out of school because of the COVID-19 shutdown. And within a day, we had 200 entries. Within a week, we had 500 entries. Within a month, we had 1,000 entries.
Wow. And
as we started giving the lessons, and I say we because all of a sudden I realized, okay, I'm just one little dude with a bass here. There's no way I can give, and clearly not everybody wants to take bass lessons. So I hit up Kiko and Dirk from Megadeth, Nita Strauss from Alice Cooper's band, Bumblefoot, who is in my solo band, and Sons of Apollo and former Guns N' Roses. Mm-hmm. And so I just started calling all my friends, Jimmy DeGrasso, who was in Megadeth with me years back, and I hit everybody and said, hey, would you be able to at least donate a couple lessons to some students, and I said, we're doing some fundraising, maybe we can even afford to flip you a couple of bucks at some point, and so that was really where the whole thing started. So we started to, a crowdfunder, to do some fundraising, and now we have an eBay auction, part of the Ellefson Youth Music Foundation, and so that's what it is, and that's kind of where it started. And now here we are, well underway.
That's so great. And what a way to turn such a negative situation into something positive.
Exactly. And, the thing of it is obviously the students were stoked. They're like, oh my gosh, like rock stars giving me a lesson, But also I got to tell you, as we were in our industry, because we got hit first and are
Right.
probably going to be one of the longest to recover in the live music sector. It has just been devastating to our business. Yet on other sides of the business, musical instruments are selling, home recording equipment is selling, digital sales of music are spiking because everybody's at home. So people are, the beauty of it is people are reaching to their instruments and being creative, and I always say I think we're gonna, kind of like 9 months after the Super Bowl, you got the Super Bowl babies. I think we're gonna have a bunch of COVID albums and songs coming out about 9-10 months from now. Because people are gonna be sitting around working on stuff. Probably not even that long. I shouldn't even say within a week. Like there's this huge thrust of creativity that has come from that, and that really is, to me, that's the power of music and how it stirs the human spirit, and I think how it connects the human spirit. Because we just want to be connected. When we're told we have to go home and we're in a timeout, and you can't hang out. It's like being grounded. When we were kids, and now we've been told we have to be home, but for good reason. But that doesn't stop the creative spirit, and I think that's the beauty of what has come out of this. Look, through the foundation, now we have this More Nights with DETH, which is funny because it's death like Megadeth, but it's me and Tom's initials, David Ellefson, Tom Hazard, right? So DETH.
Cool.
So we started this live stream. And it's, we've done 3 big major ones that we've announced, and we've gone on just kind of randomly during the week to update people. And last night we did one, and it was so cool because Post Malone's dad, and then Post came on, and we hung out for like an hour and a half, and just had an awesome heavy metal and all things rock and roll, and it was just a beautiful moment. And of course, we just put out. My solo band, we just put out a cover. We did a re-imaged cover of Post's song called Over Now. And we just put that out last month, and it's blowing up at radio right now. And so it was just really it was fun for us to just give Post a big thanks and, thank him for his blessing on us doing the song,
Yeah, no, I heard that, and that was great. What made you guys want to do a Post song?
We were in Europe last November doing a solo tour for a couple weeks, and Tom brought it up. Because we had started texting with Posts, just hit him up. And I think it's right before Beer Bongs and Bentleys came out, and he had a Megadeth tattoo on his arm. So and other tattoos were like, okay, this guy's like a rocker dude. So we hit him up, and he's just a sweet, lovely guy, and so is his father, and we just hit him up. So we just started chatting. Obviously, he's busy. We're all busy, in our careers doing stuff. But we just stayed in touch, and just out of nowhere, one day we're driving literally down, I don't know, the freeway of Italy and the highway of Italy, and Tom just says, he goes, "Hey, what do you think about doing a cover of Over Now?" And I said, "I think it's a great idea. I think it'd be awesome." And what I really liked about it is, here's Post, who grew up a metalhead. And then he grew up on sort of my legacy, yet he is a very current artist, and so for us to cover a current song by a legacy artist is almost the reverse of what you normally do.
Oh yeah, you're
because
right.
Usually, right? You know what I mean? So it's like it's usually the opposite. Usually, like the young guy does pull some legacy, like we've done it with Megadeth. The Sex Pistols, Black Sabbath. We're going to pull our heroes off the shelf and do a version of their songs, and this was the opposite. And I just think that it's just such a nice, fun, creative spin on the whole thing that it just really creates a lot of smiles and a lot of fun for everybody.
That's so awesome. So how have you been doing this year with the whole coronavirus thing, the self-quarantine thing?
Well, initially, Arizona, where I live here in Scottsdale, was really low impact. And, it's beautiful sunny days every day. The weather's nice. We're heading into summer now. And, we started opening up about a month ago. And, now, as of like this week, we are now the number one hotspot of spikes in COVID cases reported and hospitals full, and it's completely gone the other way.
Wow.
And which is, again, it is really too bad because it's generally been pretty chill here, And look, I go to the grocery store, I wear my mask, I have my gloves. I can come home, I throw my clothes in the wash, I take a shower. I mean, I definitely, am not, being slack with it. So look, it is what it is. I went to Nashville a couple weeks ago, and we recorded my parts for the new Megadeth albums. We got bass and drums down, and so we just decided to pull the trigger and work. Because Nashville's kind of the same thing. Tennessee, pretty low impact. So we were able to, to do that and be productive. So it's, I think for me, I don't watch the news. I stopped getting the newspaper 10, 15 years ago. I really try not to watch the news. The 24-hour news stations are the worst because they have 24 hours of content they have to fill, and they just, will just keep replaying the same story over and over and over again. And so I just really try to put one foot in front of the other, live a day at a time, and just try to be in the moment of the things that are put right in front of me, that I can actually be productive and do something about, And, so for me, I just try to keep my nose to the grindstone, write, play, record, do interviews, and, I have, obviously friends, we stay in touch and whatnot, but, I just try to stay out of the minutia and just try to really, be creative and try to be productive and contribute as best I can, during a time when we really are all having to reinvent our own wheel and until we get to the other side of this.
Based on what you're hearing inside the industry, do you have any idea when concerts might be back?
Well, I was supposed to go to Australia and Japan last month with my solo band, and that's now pushed back until February and March of 2021. And the Megadeth tour that was supposed to start yesterday, the metal tour of the year with Megadeth, Lamb of God, Trivium, and In Flames, that at least the summer leg has been postponed till next year. There's a leg in the fall as well, and we're just taking it as it comes. But at least the summer stuff is certainly pushed back till next year. So, look, I think there might be some smaller shows. I actually have a couple of things confirmed and even a few tentative things that for August, September that have been sitting there. We've sort of kind of done a soft announce on it, but not really any hard push because we still have to see how that's going to go, and those are some dates through the Midwest. So at this point, I think we're all in the same boat. If you just really got to take it a day at a time, and a week at a time, a month at a time, and you just kind of take it as it comes right now.
The fall Lamb of God, In Flames, Trivium tour is still kind of a go, and you guys are just waiting it out?
It's currently on the books, and tickets are on sale. But yes, it's I think everything's just sort of in a holding pattern to see. We didn't want to just wipe everything clean in the hopeful chance that maybe things might change by then. Yet at the same time, we as the bands, Live Nation is the promoter, and certainly the governors and mayors, and the governors of the states, the mayors of the city, it's like no one's going to let people just walk into a danger zone either, So
right.
There's a lot of moving parts, to touring right now in a way that it's never been, So, we just take it as it comes now.
So you mentioned that you did get to Nashville and you got to put down your parts for the new Megadeth record, which people, of course, are really excited about that. So what can you tell me about the musical direction of the new tracks?
I can just sort of give you the history. We, set the intention to get started on the writing by late 2017 when we wrapped up down in Argentina, the tour. And, we've worked a little bit. 2018, we went to Europe for a couple months. We did, last year was pretty much wiped clean. We had the big tour with Ozzy, and that, of course, got canceled. First postponed, and now, of course, canceled. And then Dave, went through his throat cancer treatments, and fortunately has come through that victoriously. We did keep the Mega Cruise on the books last year, and then did, we went over to Europe with Five Finger Death Punch and Bad Wolves in January and February. And so, we've had an incredible calendar of amazing stuff, but due to circumstances certainly beyond our control, the majority of it's been wiped off the calendar. So it's been a very trying season, for tour work with Megadeth. Fortunately, as far as the creative and the writing and making a new album, that has actually been moving along pretty well. So, it's not, all is not lost, fortunately. And, this is a record that we knew, we knew that, look, following up on Dystopia, this is not something we wanted to just rush in, bang it out, and just get back out on the road. I mean, this is something that needed time. First of all, you want to make sure the content is stellar. You want to make sure you've got something to sing about and a story to tell, because that's the other big part of Megadeth songs. It's not just sex, drugs, and rock and roll. There's always got to be a narrative through the album, and so that's important to just let that take its time. So ironically, the challenges that we've had have actually led to giving us the needed time on the album. So, at this point, we've got this year now to be working on the record, which we are, and if all goes as best we can plan, 2021, we'll hopefully see a new Megadeth record, and we live to fight another day.
Yeah, does it feel different writing a record now that you guys have a Grammy?
Yeah, I mean, look, the Grammy, I'm not going to lie. I mean, when you win a Grammy, you win a Grammy. I mean, that's the gold standard of, it's like you winning an Oscar for a film. I mean, it's the gold standard of our business, and, we've been honored with the nomination since 1991. We've received 12 of them, and then we finally, won number 12. they bestowed the honor on us. And, the truth of it is, we just write songs we like, and it seems like when we like them, our fans like them. And you can't build a career on winning awards. You build a career on doing what's in your heart, and people rally behind that. You build a fan base, and that's, that's who you become then, through your work. And it's wonderful when the powers that be knock on your door, whether for me it's the Iowa Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, or for Megadeth it's the Grammys. We got a Clio Award for our virtual reality project that we put out with the launch of Dystopia as well. And I didn't even, a Clio Award, it's like, on Mad Men, the advertising agencies, they win Clio Awards. So the fact that I have a Clio Award sitting here, is an honor. Like, we're at Seth Meyers. We're getting ready to go out, play Dystopia, and Seth Meyers in New York City, and management, they brought him to the green room, and hey, here's your Clio Award. Like, wow. Like, where does that fit into things? You know what I mean? Like, it's a beautiful life when these random things come at you like that. And I think for Megadeth, us winning the Grammy, hell, the Grammys were excited. I went to the Recording Academy in Santa Monica I guess it was maybe a year or so after we won, because we were talking with them about some other things, my coffee company, and getting involved in some other things. And even they were like, God, it's about time, you guys. Like, we are so happy you won. Like, we are thrilled inside the Recording Academy that Megadeth finally won its Grammy, because they know what a build-up it is, and they know what a letdown it can be, if you don't go home with the thing, So I think that meant as much as winning the thing, just the sort of internal recognition there. Obviously, the recognition from our fans. My cell phone was blowing up from all kinds of our friends in the industry all around the world who were on tour, just going, "Oh my gosh, congratulations! We're so thrilled for you guys." And guys from Disturbed and Nikki Sixx, and just friends of ours that have been in the business, and they themselves have been nominated, won or lost or whatever, and so it was just one of those things to be, just getting that thumbs up from our friends in the community. I think that really is the deal, because that's that's kind of the story behind the award, in my opinion.
Right. No, I think that's a great point. Well, whenever things are back to normal, or as normal as they can be after coronavirus, I think a cool celebration. Yeah, I think it would be cool for there to be another Big Four show, which I know that Slayer retired and everything. But have you ever thought about maybe after everything, as a big celebration, bringing that back?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, we would have loved to keep doing more of them. I mean, ultimately, it's Metallica's call, because they're the they're the powers that be that control that. And look, we were grateful just to even do one of them. The fact that they would then keep extending more of them to us for 2 years was just, it was beyond gracious of them. They are the mighty Metallica, and they I think the fact that they reached back to us and helped pull us up the mountain to the perch that they sit on was very gracious of them. They did not have to do that, and at the same time, it showed, I think, incredible brotherhood between all of us, because we essentially are the four pillars that built the house of thrash metal, so many years ago. And we've all had our own journeys. We've all taken different roads to get to the top. And I think what started as competition back in the 80s just became brotherhood back in 2010 and 11, when we were doing those shows together. So, I mean, look, Slayer's retired, so we have to just let that be what it is. It doesn't make sense to do the big three. So
yeah, they might come back though for one show.
Yeah, who knows? I mean, again, if it's meant to be, I'm sure the answer is yes. But that's we can put it on our Christmas wish list. Let's put it that way. We'll see if Santa delivers.
Cool. So lastly, I want to talk about your faith, because I think it's really cool to talk with a fellow metalhead who has faith in a higher power. How has your faith helped you through this whole coronavirus thing?
Well, it's been everything, really, because, you realize you're just a small part of a big wheel, but even the little cogs, and, I'm a watch guy, right? So you look inside of a watch, the big wheel gets all the glory, but sometimes it's that little wheel that makes the big wheel turn that if he wasn't there, none of it would happen, and such is life, and it's kind of the mosaic of our creation. And it's interesting when you don't really live a life of faith, and then crisis happens, you don't really have much in the tank to draw from, and that's what I was taught years ago is, you got to start putting some credits in the spiritual bank too, not just the financial bank. And because there will be certain low spots up ahead, and when they show up, at least you'll have some reserves in the tank that you can live on. And I think that's huge. It's we go to the gym, we stay physically healthy, we work our jobs, we stay financially healthy. Maybe in relationships, we put our attention into that, and those stay healthy. But yet somehow our faith walk, can easily get kicked to the side. And I find, you know what, as long as it's the first thing I do in the morning and it's the last thing I do at night, usually everything in between has a resounding effect of the discipline of doing it morning and night.
Wow, that's a great point. Yeah, I never thought about that. But first thing when you wake up and then the last thing you think about when you go to bed.
Yeah, it's easier to think about faith during the day when it's the first thing I dealt with in the morning. You know, it's kind of like when I go to the gym first thing in the morning, I usually eat better through the day because I'm conscious of it. You know, I put forth some effort and I don't want to destroy a good workout by just eating junk. You know, and I think it's the same thing. If I give my spirit a good workout in the morning through prayer, meditation, readings, various things, I tend to not want to just put a bunch of junk food into my spirit life either.
That's awesome. I play bass, by the way, so it's really cool to talk with you and, you know, hear how you started playing bass on the farm and everything. So,
yeah, nice. Very cool. Very cool. Nice. How long have you been playing?
10 years, but I'm not going to lie, I'm more of a vocalist, but I wanted an instrument to complement it. And I tried guitar and I couldn't do the pick. I did not like the pick. So I did bass and I don't use a pick when I play. I love using my fingers. So
good. Yeah. Yeah. However it works to do it, you know, that's the thing is there's no right or wrong way. There's only your way.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Is there anything else you'd want to add?
No, that's it. I'm good. Thanks for your time. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Stay safe and everything. And hopefully we can rock with you soon when that tour is back on the way.
Yes. Fingers crossed.
All right. Take care.
All right, see you, Anne.
David from Megadeth. What a great guy, and really beyond pumped to hear that Megadeth working on that new music. That new record is on the way, and really cool that the guys were able to make it to Nashville to work on some new music. Sounds like things are progressing pretty quickly. Bass and drums are down. That's awesome. Doesn't get any better than that. And it sounds like the stuff is sounding cool. Sounds like the creative juices are flowing, which I cannot wait to hear that new Megadeth album. You know it's going to be killer because it's Megadeth. It is impossible for them to put out anything that would not be awesome at this point. So that's good to hear. And the Big Four, he was kind of up in the air about it. He says he would do it. The guys would definitely do it, which is great. But as for getting Slayer on board, he seemed a little apprehensive. He seemed to think that maybe Slayer would not come out of retirement just for the show, which kind of surprises me. I feel like they would. I feel like they would do it for one Big Four show if Metallica, Megadeth, and Anthrax asked them to do it. But hey, David knows more from those guys than I do, so I will take his word for it. But the good news, he did not say no. He left it on the table. Maybe one day we'll get that Big Four show. I mean, you might as well do it now while people are still around and healthy and everything. Do it, guys. I just want it to happen. What a great show. David, again, thank you for being an amazing guest. Don't forget to please subscribe wherever you rock out to podcast. Leave a 5-star review. And I've got some really fun shows on the way. Some great guests, fun topics, and I love rocking with you, so appreciate all of the great support. Link up with me on social media, Twitter and Snapchat at Anne Erickson, Instagram and TikTok at Erickson Anne, Facebook and all of my socials you can find at itsmeanne.com because I couldn't get all the same socials. I had to put them all up there at itsmeanne.com. It's been a great show. Thank you very much for rocking with me, and we'll do it again soon, okay? Good answer. I was hoping that you would say that. Be safe. God bless. And we'll rock soon.
It's the cutting edge of new music and the forefront of rock. It's Audio Inc. with Anne.
Thanks for listening to another episode of the Audio Inc. Radio Podcast. Subscribe to our channel so you never miss an episode. Get inked online at audioinkradio.com. I'm Anne Erickson for the Audio Inc. Radio Podcast.